Welcome back, Yeehaw crew. It's your captain, Yeehaw Yadam, and for today's video, we're back with our regularly scheduled market watch and news section. Now, you might think to yourself, there's not a lot of news happening this week, and you wouldn't be wrong. We've just gotten a couple releases of more of the Yamato deck that's coming out in the future, but you know what we did get this week, ladies and gentlemen? We have got confirmation that Set 4 is now available for pre-order. Set 4 is now available for pre-order. I will say it one more time. Pause this video. Pre-order Set 4, because if we continue with the trends that we are currently dealing with in the One Piece card game, if you don't get it now and it sells out, you will get that FOMO. That will be difficult to stock. I do believe that by Set 4, though, Bandai will be able to solve their shipping issues in Digimon. By the time they got to Set 4, the shipping issues were completely fixed, and there was no shortage of any supply of cards, and people were able to get whatever they wanted, and decks were much cheaper, and cards were also subsequently cheaper because of that. Now, if you really want to make sure that you have product, maybe your area doesn't really have product, just make sure to pre-order through any of the websites available on the internet. This one is specifically toywiz.com. I am not sponsored by toywiz.com. But it looks like this is just one of the examples that I found for the Kingdom of Intrigue or Set 4 for One Piece. I am affiliated with PPG though, so I will speak with the owners of PPG, and once they have finally put it up on their website that Set 4 will be released or will be available for pre-order, I will make sure to make a post about it so you guys can get your hands on Set 4 and not miss out on any more fantastic One Piece cards. So with that being said, let's get to the second part of the news. Now, I know I mentioned it last week that we have pre-release coming up, right? And that's really important. Pre-release is really cool. I do suggest that if you are interested in competitive One Piece, or if you're just a collector, to join this event. This is a very casual event meant to be a very cool experience where you're able to acquire cards from the pre-release, these new pre-release packs. Now, these new pre-release packs, I mentioned in my last video, if they follow the same trend that Digimon did, and I do believe that they will, and even further beyond than Digimon, that means that these cards are going to be worth quite a pretty penny. So collectors, enjoyers of the game, and rarity enjoyers like myself will really be looking for these pre-release cards. Another very important thing to be talked about, the pre-release tournaments, guys. Pre-release tournament signups are finally out, and they came out earlier this week on the Bandai TCG Plus app. So once again, pause this video here and go to your Bandai TCG Plus app or their website and make sure that you check for your local TOs and make sure that you are registered for your pre-release. Unfortunately, if you are from the South Florida area, it is too late. All the stores are at capacity. So by my understanding and a lot of the speculation from the subreddit, the stores, depending on their status with Bandai, they can either be bronze, silver, or gold. Depending on their status, it's how much product is allocated to the store, which in turn translates to how many people can participate in their pre-release event. So it's either 16, 32, or 8, right? I think that's the range that I've been seeing and what I've been seeing around in my area. So hopefully you guys can get into some pre-release events and have a lot of fun. They're super duper cool, and the format is also really interesting. Once again, in my last video, I talked about how we have constructed and sealed. Now, I don't think we've ever had a sealed tournament for One Piece, so they finally brought out and updated the sealed format rules, and I'm going to go over them real quickly, some of the interesting stuff, because we already know constructed. It's up to the TO's discretion if they want to do sealed or constructed, but we've done so much constructed already. Let's give people a little flavor, a little of the new stuff. So the sealed format is exactly what we have here. We're going to have 6 packs. Out of those 6 packs, you will create a 40-card deck with 10 Dawn. Make sure to bring your own Dawn because you will not get 10 Dawn in 6 packs. And you will then play from there. One thing that's really cool about the sealed format is, and maybe it depends on how you look at it, it might not be too cool, but you may bring your own leader to play in this event. Just by the nature of the One Piece card game, you will open the 6-pack, and there's a chance that you don't open a leader. So Bandai has created a safeguard for that event just in case that happens. So you guys will be able to play whatever leader you've enjoyed from OP01, or if you get lucky, you can play some of the OP02 leaders. They've also done a couple other really cool things. They've created a sideboard. Hello? They've put sideboard. So cards not used in the main deck are treated as sideboard cards. In between games, players can exchange cards in their decks with cards in their sideboards. Players can exchange as many cards between their decks and sideboard as they like, so long as the legal number of cards are in their deck. What? Okay. I like where this is going, because who knows what the future has in store for us. But this is really, really cool. Something that's kind of different. Also super important, there is no color requirement based on your leader. So if you're playing Magellan, which is a purple leader in OP02, you can play black cards. You can play blue, red, whatever your heart desires. And that's really cool, because that way you don't have to create a lot of synergy based on your strategy. So now that we have the idea for the format, let's talk about what I think and what I suggest you guys bring to the format. And it's just a little bit more of the same. So what are really good leaders that have no restrictions? Well, let's do a little zoom in. And we got Zoro, who does not have any... And we've lost Zoro. We've lost Zoro. So Zoro is not color restricted by any means. So Zoro will be here, and it says, as long as he has a Dawn, all your characters gain 1,000 power. No color restriction. Doesn't say red, doesn't say straw hat, doesn't say anything. So he's very not limited. He's very broad in his effect, meaning that he's going to be very good. If you can make a wide board, his effect seems very usable. Same thing could be argued for Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy leader is another pretty excellent choice. And I'm talking about the red starter leader. Let's go find him right here. But for example, why would the green-red Luffy be a poor choice for a tournament like this? Because his effect is very specific. Supernovas, straw hats. If you don't have any supernovas or straw hats, how are you going to get this effect to really get off consistently? You're not really going to get that to happen. Flamingo, 7 Warlords of the Sea. How are you going to get 7 Warlords of the Sea to consistently happen? I'm not really sure. So therefore, I would go for very broad leaders that just have these very good and strong effects, similar to Luffy, Zoro, Eustace, Captain Kidd. We all know that that double attack is really good. Odin, I wouldn't suggest because he needs Wano cards. Kinemon, again, needs Wano cards. This is all very subjective. If you pull a lot of Wano from your sealed packs, do you? Maybe bring a bunch of different leaders and then see what you get and try to go from there. Maybe you play a little Kaido, maybe you play a little Magellan. I wouldn't suggest playing black. Not because black is weak or anything like that, but black needs a lot of synergies to go together, right? Smoker is going to need to have cost reduction to make his effect very viable, which is meaning that you're going to need a lot of black engine to have that happen. And if you don't get that black engine, your deck is just going to suffer as a cost of that. On the same token, Law would seem like a really good deck as well, but Law being a 4-lifer is going to be very tough. And if you don't get a very low to the ground deck in this set, then you're going to have a really tough time shambling the effect. The only reason I considered Sanji in this list because Sanji is, as a leader, states when you play a character without an effect from your hand, if you have 3 or less characters in play, set 2 of your Dawn as active. Basically, all the vanillas in this set will be reduced by a cost of 2, and this is not color restricted. Meaning you can play a mix mash deck of just strong 3/5s. 3 cost 5Ks, and you can just slam them down in one turn and then rush your opponent down. The only downside to Sanji in this format is A, you've got to pull him, and B, he's a 4-lifer, and 4-lifers are going to suffer in this format, I believe, very heavily. So if you don't pull Sanji, don't worry, you got these bad boys that are just going to carry you. But if you do pull Sanji, this is a really cool opportunity to get to play this very interesting and cool leader. So I definitely would suggest giving him a shot. And now for the Market Watch section. We finally got some prices on the Paramount War. And I do the wiggly fingers in ode to Simo because it's really interesting, right? So finally we're starting to see some of the cards finally settle back at their prices. Nami coming back to the 225, Zoro sustaining that $200 price, but a lot of the cards from OP01 are finally reaching, I believe, to be their stabilizing points. And I'm sorry for the super white screens. Unfortunately, my TCG player, I guess, is only in this very white background, so it's very jarring. But we have Whitebeard here. I want to talk about some of the Paramount 2 cards because there's not prices on everything, but there are some prices and sold listings on some cards, and I want to just talk about that. I'm a Whitebeard enjoyer. I'm going to be playing Whitebeard in OP02. Not because it's strong, not because of anything more than that this was the strongest man to ever live. This guy is an absolute Chad. If you've watched the show, we all know how great Marineford as an arc was, and it was just, I love this guy. I think he is so freaking cool. Definitely am going to enjoy it, and so thematic. His effect of taking a life every turn coincides with the show, and it's just strong. Being a 6K, I don't know, I just find them super duper cool, right? With that being said, even me, who's a huge Whitebeard stan, why is he $150 for the alt-art? I do like the fact that people, maybe not like, it might not be the term, but people have wisened up. They've noticed that cards are a little bit more expensive. Maybe I can't put Whitebeard as a $50 card. Like Zoro came out on release. The Zoro alt-art leader was $50. We're not going to make that same mistake and lose money. So people are now going way overboard. Do I think Whitebeard should hold this $150 tag? By no means. If we look at set 1, no leader besides Zoro holds the tag of about $125. No other leader, bar none, right? You have Law, you have Flamingo, and then everyone else, 80 and then 60s. So there's no way that Edward Newgate, I mean, again, he is a freaking Chad. I can see him being 150 in like some universe, but I don't think, a part of me wants to say that it could go down. I am very hesitant on this card. I don't want to be a naysayer, a doom caller. Don't buy the pre-releases, because if they do go down, then I'm going to feel like a dummy. But 150 seems like a very risky price point for anyone, and there are multiple sold listings on this, and by multiple I mean 2. So definitely people are buying it. It's not the worst price, but it certainly could be better. And that's all the Market Watch is, trying to help people manage their limited resources and get the cards that they want so that they feel happy with their hobby. So with that same token, Sanji. Sanji is sitting as one sold listing of $120. Now, I think Sanji is super cool. I mean, at the end of the day, this gentleman is a Straw Hat. He is a core member of the crew, and a lot of people are Sanji stans. I mean, I think this effect is super duper strong, and in the future could be even stronger. He's a very aggressive leader, and in DBS, there have been leaders that have very similar abilities to this, and they have been super out of control. Very strong aggro deck. The colors are just beautiful. Blue, green, really good color combination with a good effect and a strong leader face to it. But I'm not convinced. I am certainly not convinced. This seems like a Crocodile, a Purple Kaido type of card. I can see him maybe as the Luffy, an $80 leader, $70 leader, but certainly not 120. This one I'm more confident saying that this I can see going down as opposed to the Whitebeard. Again, this is all very speculative and also not financial advice. So if you do make any sort of purchases, I am not a financial advisor. But yeah, certainly I can see this one going down. I do want to pick this up for my collection. I think he's absolutely, it looks really, really good, and he's a really cool looking leader. So I'll pick it up for my collection, but I'll pick him up when he gets just a little bit cheaper. Kinemon. Kinemon is expected to do really well, similar to Whitebeard in our format. So he's going to hit the $150 price tag too. I think everyone just decided, hey, 150 this time, boys. We're in, hey, nothing less than 150. We just be doing 150. So respect to that. There's only one guy that's doing it right now. We don't have any sold listings for Kinemon, but we do expect him to be a very strong leader. Once again, if you look at the data from the other leaders, this could be an $120 leader. If he's like the Law or the Flamingo, it could be 120, but that's because Flamingo is the best blue leader, right? Arguably, or more playable, more liked, whatever. Eustace Captain Kid is still arguably just as good as Kinemon. Why would I pick up Kinemon when I can just play Kid and not spend any money? It's kind of broken not to spend any money. So you've really got to sweeten this pot. Does Kinemon have room to grow? Certainly. Anytime they print a Wano card, Kinemon just gets an automatic buff. The card looks really cool. He looks like he's having a really bad time. I like it. And he did really well in the Eastern meta. So I do see this card being expensive, but not $150 expensive. We can't just be lazy and put every leader at $150. I'm going to skip over Magellan. I'm going to skip over Garp. I'm going to skip over Smoker because there are no sold listings and no one has priced any of them out at this time. But based off of the One Piece top decks from the East, nothing to see there, folks. Zephyr is the only one out of those decks, and Smoker that did really, really well. But Garp is a fan favorite card. didn't do well in the East. Magellan, it's just not better than Kaido. So really cool cards, really great for collection value, but expect those to be very, very low. Certainly not in the $150 range. And then let's talk about Nami. Nami is a card that, this card is really, really cool. Really, really good. The artwork's interesting. We got all these film cards coming out. So I'm excited to see what they do with these cards. And again, Mad Cards Florida setting the price. This one does have a sold listing at $149. As collectors, I can see this card holding this price. Do I see this card being as strong in the starter deck, Nami? Probably not. Right? Straw Hats will be a much stronger tagline than film. It has a great stat line, and it has a on-play and when attacking effect, which is really, really cool. But currently, the fact that it only searches 3, it's looking for film, and it has a very specific specification of not Nami, makes it a little bit cumbersome. The only deck that could really field this card would be the Law deck if you wanted to splash a very heavy film package, which I can totally see. But other than that, it probably is going to have a hefty tax just because this is Nami. It's just Nami. Will it be $150? Maybe not. I can see this as $100. Depending on supply and demand, this could be even cheaper than that. If we have a hefty supply of OP02, $80. So again, not financial advice. Uda, for whatever reason, the alt art is sitting at $200 as one of the most expensive cards in the set. It is a very strong card, but is it strong enough for $200? I get Uda had the film. People really liked Uda as a character. Waifu tax, collector value. I don't know. I'm not convinced that this is a $200 card. Do we have any sold listings? We don't. We only have we have 2 people trying to sell it at for $200. I get it that it's an alt art of a secret, alt art of a playable secret, but other than that, just not convinced. And finally, we've got this Monkey D. Luffy alt art, 7/7 blocker and an on play. This card is really cool, but once again, very limited. It could get better in the future, but I only see this being playable in very weird film law decks that exist. But super strong card, and it is a Luffy, so $39. Do we have any sold listings? We don't. And once again, Top Choice Gaming and Mad Cards setting the price points. Lastly, we have the yeah, big side, because this guy is a terrible card to face. If you've played any OP02 on the simulator, you will know how unbelievably strong this card is. It is almost frustratingly strong. I haven't seen the alt art go up yet, so we'll see what those prices look like. But this card is seemingly following a very Zoro-esque tag, right? Zoro was $20, $30-ish. This card seems like he's pushing $30, $40. Grabbing 4 sold 2 days ago for $40 a pop. Respect. That man wants his white beards, and he wants them now. I do think this can go down. Again, on release, people are going to be shipping this. If you're able to get to these pre-release events, people are willing to trade, man. People are very reasonable. I'd reckon that if you go to these pre-release events and you're looking for very specific cards, you will be able to acquire most of what you think at a much more reasonable price than TCG Player. Just talk to people. The best advice that I can give. If you think you want a card, obviously know the value of yours, know the value of theirs, and just try to find a nice little middle. Talk to people. The community's been absolutely fantastic for One Piece, and I'm so glad that we're growing it together here on this channel, as well as in your local game stores. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. I hope that you learned something. I hope you were able to get your pre-orders in. I was hoping that you got information on their pre-release, and I think you've got a little bit coming up for the next future of One Piece. The set is less than a month away, ladies and gentlemen, so get ready for OP02, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.